welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades Cheesesteaks. We were MIA last week. Let's say it's just it was for Thanksgiving. We were all busy.
Holiday break.
Not that you guys were going to listen to us anyways, unless you like to play us, at the family dinner. We'd be honored. But so I hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving. Back to the grind until Christmas. I mean, Christmas and isn't Hanukkah coming up soon? I don't know how that works, but
I mean, nowadays, like we're now in the month where there's a holiday every other day.
And then we go January to until April when there's a real holiday. I mean, St. Patrick's Day, but I like
family
holiday.
The only reason St. Patrick's Day was created was to give everyone an excuse, something to celebrate in between the brutal months of January, February, March, and April. That's just the depression months. So they were like, what holiday can we come up with that gives us an excuse to celebrate something? And then, do you ever find it funny that it's a drinking holiday?
Makes sense, honestly.
It's disappointing, but we're about to be in 2023, which is I don't even know when we finished 2021.
I was gonna say I feel like this year, like the first I feel like those depressing months were very slow, but then once we hit June, that shit fucking flew. I can't even listen to Christmas music right now because it's too much. I'm not ready. I need to slow down.
A lot has happened. Things are moving quickly. How was your Thanksgiving? Did you do anything exciting? You ate some turkey? Did you fall asleep? Did you nap after your turkey dinner?
I did not nap. I laid down.
Okay.
Took a 2-hour break before I had some pumpkin pie,
Sounds like a nap.
I will say I was very upset. I don't know why. Whatever wine my mom bought was it tasted fine, but it was not doing anything for me. I would like a little buzz, to just fall asleep, whatever afterwards. I had
is this a case of 6 glasses? Okay.
And I felt nothing. I was like, is this alcohol free? What are we doing here? I drank half of the fucking bottle.
Are you sure you didn't take a nap? It sounds like you may have fallen asleep and then woke up sober.
Possible.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. I mean, you seem like a turkey nap kind of guy. When you eat all the turkey and you fall asleep.
I'm not a big napper.
Me neither. I hate naps.
I always
naps
wake up
the most
groggy.
Overrated thing.
Yeah, I always wake up really groggy. I don't know.
I don't know about you. I'm not much of a morning person. So the way I look at naps is, why would I want to go through the wake up process more than once a day? It doesn't make sense to me.
Fair.
But on Thanksgiving, I'm a big napper on Thanksgiving. This Thanksgiving, on the other hand, though, I had my turkey dinner at 1 a.m. So there was no nap. It was just straight to bed.
Yeah. Damn. Did you FaceTime it or something?
I did, yeah. The family, yeah. The things you do to keep in with the family and friends and the football. There's a lot I do.
God bless.
The triple Fs. But moving on.
Family football. It feels or food.
It feels like ages ago that we actually had Thursday night Thanksgiving football. It's a very long week of football.
Dude, the Lions fucking came to play too. They almost beat the Bulls. I told you, remember when we did our preview, I said the Lions are going to push for 500 this year. And I mean, maybe not, record wise, maybe not, but they're playing everybody well. There's been maybe a handful of games that they got blown out, but they Bills are one of the top teams and they took care of business and almost beat them. So,
I mean, going off bold predictions, I'm just throwing this out there. The Carolina Panthers are 1 game back from the first place of their division. So that's something.
They have nobody at quarterback. They can't do anything if they made the playoffs.
Did you see Sam Darnold cook it up? You must have still be in your Thanksgiving
under 200 yards.
But did he get a win? He did.
Who did they even play? I don't even remember.
See, you may have not gotten a buzz on Thanksgiving, but Sam Darnold got a win on this Sunday.
It wasn't Thanksgiving. Yeah, well, they didn't play on Thanksgiving though.
It's still the same week, same thing.
The Falcons? Is that who they played?
No, they played the what do you call them? The Broncos.
Oh, that's not a win.
Last time I checked, it's still a W.
That team is a train wreck, man. Sheesh.
Well, hey, let's not talk about the depressing teams. Let's talk about our first, if I'm correct, our first double-digit win team of the year.
That they are at 10-1. The Philadelphia Eagles smacked the Green Bay Packers. 40-33 looks like a close score, and I'll give the Packers credit. They hung in there, but the Eagles were in control the entire game. I never was sweating.
Yeah, without a doubt.
everyone's making out to Jordan Love. Oh, he looked so good. I was like, I mean, they had to make the Eagles were playing back, like they had to make those plays. So
yeah, don't confuse it. It wasn't that Aaron Rodgers was too injured to go back in the game. It was that there was no game to go back to.
Yeah.
And before I get your insight on this game, and before we get into it, can I just say, it seems like people are going out of their way to just shit on the Eagles or criticize the Eagles. Mm-hmm. Like it's everything. Like I saw on the NFL today or whatever they do on ESPN, where they all get all excited and riled up and start hooting and hollering, play with the touchscreen and do some cool graphics and everything. It's like a 10-year-old who learns how to do word art for the first time. But listen, for Jonathan Gannon, I don't know how he got interviews for head coaching position last year. I'm a diehard Eagles fan. I support what he's doing. I would not want him as my head coach either. The defense has made some questionable decisions, but at the same time, they may have given up 33 points, but they still managed to score 41 points.
Bend don't break.
So I don't, I mean, I don't really get it. Like, yeah, you want to nitpick on something. This team has no flaws. If their defense doesn't show up, their offense will just outscore whoever they play. Yeah. The times when their defense does show up, this team's unstoppable. So I don't understand all the criticism. There is no major hole on this team.
No, that's the thing. That's like when you look at the season as a whole, when it came down to like needing points or needing a score, like they were able to do it. The problem with the loss to Washington was that they just kept shooting themselves in the foot. Too many turnovers. I mean, AJ Brown had another really bad fumble.
He did. That was tough.
Like he's got granted, like, the one was blindsided. This one was like 4 guys ripping it out of him. But like you gotta get down. Stop all that extra yardage, But
I mean, at the same time though, they still turned it on. Your franchise quarterback still came out and balled. 157 yards rushing. Mm-hmm. Came up massive every play they needed him to. He went touchdown for touchdown against Aaron Rodgers, who's everyone that doesn't know anything about football's GOAT. He went out there and balled continuously. He did it against the Colts the week before. I know the defense has looked a little shaky here and there, but last week it was the defense that kept him in that game, and Jalen coming up clutch in the big moments. This team just continues to find different ways to win, and you've yet to see a major hole on their roster.
Yeah, I mean, like in the long haul, yes, 33 points, 342 yards allowed, but that was over 24 minutes of time of possession on the Packers offense, and the defense had 3 sacks, 2 picks. The Packers were 1 for 7 on third down. Like, that's a good performance in my book. I know the yards aren't great, points aren't great, but they won.
Had the big plays though. Yeah, they had the big plays. They had some injuries. They still rolled. They look good. People are going out of their way now to find criticisms.
They just look at the schedule and they're like, yeah, the Eagles played nobody. I was like, like, this is the NFL. Like, you need, like, every game can, like, any team can win on any given Sunday. Like, that's been a time and time over again statement. And people are, I mean, granted, like when the Steelers were undefeated, we were talking shit on them too, because they had an easy schedule. But the difference is the Steelers team never really looked great. Like, the Eagles look really solid. Like, they're built well. And they went pound for pound with the Packers, who were desperate for a win. And they took care of business. So
you look at the Cardinals, the Steelers. Yeah, look at the Cardinals, Steelers, the 2 best teams at this point the last 2 years. Those teams had flaws. There was issues with that team that they had to work around. You can still not see there's minor holes, sure. Gannon has some questionable play calling and play design. Absolutely. The run defense looked a little weak, but I mean, since they got Sue and Joseph, those 2 look great. Mm-hmm. But there's no major holes. There really isn't. They're so sound all around. Like, you're just looking for things to nitpick, and anything that you nitpick on, their defense can't stop them, or they can't stop the run or anything. Okay, well, what about the elite secondary put out there? We have shutdown corners on both sides of the field. What about the fact that our offense can't be stopped? Yeah. Oh, their offense, stalled. They struggle with this. They struggle with that. They just equal themselves out. I mean, in a game where your defense gave up 33 points to the Packers, your offense put up 41. In a game where your defense only gave up, or when your offense only scored 17 points to the Colts, your defense only gave up 13? Like, they're making it work. You're not going to be kicking on both cylinders every single game, but they're winning games every single time. You've yet to see a big hole in this roster. It's amazing. I don't get it. One hole though, that freaking returner for the Packers. I don't even know the Nichols or whatever the hell the guy's name was. I think he went for a 40-yard average on every single kick return.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Outrageous.
It's
like, it's not even just one area. It's not even just Covey at this point. The whole special team sucks. Jake Elliott is about the only good player we have on special teams.
Yeah.
I mean, who actually returns the ball on kickoffs anymore? This guy was kicking it from 9 yards deep and bringing it out 50 yards. It was out of control.
Yeah. Also, like, that was some prime time kicking by Jake Elliott. That was probably the most important field goal he's kicked all year. Besides the one to win the Cardinals, but I know, but I'm saying, like, that was like what 50-some yarder, and we needed the extra cushion there. But
again, this team doesn't have any major holes. There's literally no major holes on this roster. Everyone has their issues, but even who they played, I haven't heard anyone pick up their jaw when it comes to the Minnesota Vikings yet. The jaw has still hit the floor after they beat the Bills. Yeah. And does anyone forget that we waxed them in like week 3?
Mm-hmm. Like, you know what? Because people don't want to believe that the Eagles are good, like, because they snuck into the playoffs last year, like 7-9 or whatever we were, or 7, 8, and 10. I don't know the fucking schedule was, but
I just think people are going out of their way to hate on this team, and they're trying to find little holes and making them a lot bigger than there is no major holes in this team.
No. But yeah, I'm definitely that Hurts look great. I mean, 157 yards on the ground, 9.2 average. Like, that's fucking nuts.
That offensive line was bullying.
That's what I've been saying this like all year. Like Jalen doesn't even have to throw the ball. We could just run it the entire game. Like, Miles Sanders is 5th in rushing yards right now in the whole league. Like,
wild.
Like, yeah. 900. We're gonna have a 1K. I mean, bearing injuries, we should have a 1,000-yard receiver and a 1,000-yard rusher this year. When was the last time we had that?
Deshaun and maybe Shady.
Yeah, probably.
That's good. That's a good trivia question right there. Yeah. I mean, it all comes down to, like, they're just excellent on the offside. Don't even get into how amazing Jalen Hurts has been. That offensive line is just bullying people every single game. That, like, it doesn't matter what you want to do. They're so dominant that they can do whatever the hell they want. They can run the cornerback. They could run the running back. They can pass the ball. They can do literally whatever they want because they're blowing people off the defensive line, and it's beautiful.
But they're still riding the Cowboys, even though they're the ones that are struggling.
Even though we already waxed them. That game wasn't even close. This is the thing. Everyone's losing their minds over, the Vikings beat the Bills. Oh, the Cowboys beat the Giants. Like, we destroyed them. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Like, if it was a close game, I'd maybe hear your argument that they might be good, but we killed them both, and it wasn't close.
No. So.
Just wild. I can't understand. I'm at the point now, like, I have ignored it for most of the season. Now I'm at the point, like, all this hate and all this, like, ridicule over the Eagles and who they play and this and that. I'm like, it's just getting old. Like, this team is so good. You're just a hater.
They're playing well. They rebounded from a loss, got the ship right, and now they're 2 straight wins again. First team to double-digit wins, leading their division, leading the NFC. Just got to lock up home field, and we're good. We're Gucci.
I mean, what? They're probably like 2 more games away from locking up home field.
No, because Dallas is right behind them still.
I guess they do have 2 games against Dallas, so. Or no, 1. I'm sorry. They got 2 games against Giants.
Let's see. So, I mean, we're up 2 on Dallas, but we're only up 1 on Minnesota. We're up 3 on San Fran. It's really only winning the division, and then as long as we have a better record than the Vikings, better or the same record as the Vikings, because we beat them head to head, so we should get the nod.
The other thing I don't understand is why they're ridiculing and hating on this team so much when the NFC is so weak. The next best team is a team the Eagles shit on. Then you have the Niners, who I think are legit. Then you have the Cowboys, who I'm leaning towards more of, like, being overranked than I am underranked. The Giants are a fraud. I don't care what you tell me. That team is not good. They are a fraud.
Well, I'm looking at the NFC right now, and it's kind of a joke because the NFC is literally the NFC East. Like, Eagles are 10-1, Dallas is 8-3, the Giants are 7-4, and Washington is 7-5. Minnesota is 9-2. Nobody in their division has a winning record. Tampa 5-6. The rest of the division's trash. San Fran is 7-4. Seattle is 6-5. The Cardinals are garbage. The Rams are a disaster. The NFC East is literally running the NFC. Like, who would have thought?
The NFC is so weak that we are talking about a Geno Smith-led Seahawks and a Daniel Jones-led Giants as legit like contenders. I mean,
and that's why I look at all that, like all the hate on the Eagles as like just funny at this point, because like, who have you seen how the league is developing this year? Like, there are no clear good teams. Every team needs to win a game. Like, easy schedule, easy schedule that. Like, there's no good teams.
I mean, it's hard for me to say I'm scared of the Cowboys and the Vikings after we've destroyed them both. I am nervous about the Niners because I think their defense is incredible, and I really think McCaffrey's going to bring that offense in. Well, the Tom Brady Buccaneers will also scare me. If Tom Brady gets in the playoffs, which he will, that will always scare you. I don't care how many divorces he's had. I don't care what record they are.
Then I have a too much whiz where I said Brady, if he goes into the playoffs with a negative win-loss record, he'll still end up at the Super Bowl.
I mean, you can't count him out. I would love to not see him in the playoffs.
He could just turn it on whenever and be like a demon.
I was just say, he's just been there so many times that he's probably snoozing through all the games. He's like, he probably just doesn't care because he's like, oh, the division is horrific. I can get into the playoffs at 8 and 9 or whatever it is. Oh, I'll see you in 2 months. I can just cruise through this, get to 8 and 9, and get to the playoffs, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this season, honestly, for where it started, like it's mind-blowing how it's kind of developed where
you had all these like big name teams. Like the Packers are a joke. The Rams are just horrific. They are the worst Super Bowl hangover I've seen since I've been alive. Even the Cardinals have disappointed. These big teams, the Buccaneers to a point, they look like they're going to make the playoffs, but the Buccaneers have disappointed. Like there's really nothing to glimmer hope on. Your best seasons are coming from Kirk Cousins, 2 backups, and then Jalen Hurts, who looks like an MVP contender. And yet everyone shits on the Eagles.
Technically, if the Falcons and the Seahawks and Washington or the Giants just start losing games and Detroit keeps winning, Detroit can still make the playoffs. They're 4-7.
Hey, so Carolina could too.
Green Bay, Arizona, Carolina, the Saints. Yeah. The Bears are the worst team in the NFC, which they're bad, but like I wouldn't have guessed that they would have been the absolute worst team. The Texans, yes, 1-9-1. I would have guessed that. But Denver at the bottom, Pittsburgh at the bottom, Cleveland at the bottom, the Raiders are 4-7. The Jags are 4-7.
See, the AFC is wild. Yeah, the AFC is very
Chargers
weird.
Aren't even in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, the AFC is completely different. That is a weird conference. You have 2 juggernauts, but then every other week it changes.
The Titans are that weird team that is like just sometimes they win games and sometimes they just lose games in a questionable fashion. Ravens are always a coin flip, I feel like.
I was just saying the Ravens, the description you give the Titans is the same thing that applies to the Ravens.
Bengals are 7-4 now. They're right there with everybody. So they turned their season around after a slow start.
Hey, we'll say the AFC and the NFC are completely different. That's all I know. And the Eagles are by far the best team in the NFC.
That being said, let's quickly run through the week's action from the games on Thanksgiving and as well as Sunday. So we had Thanksgiving games was, like we said, Bills beat the Lions 28-25 in a really good game. Then the Cowboys beat the Giants 28-20 in a game that I thought the Giants might win because they played well in the first half, but then the Cowboys kind of ran away with it. Giants got a garbage time touchdown. And then it ended with the Vikings struggling to beat the offenseless Patriots 33-26. It's amazing that the Patriots are winning games because their offense is like top tier, one of the worst offenses I've ever seen.
Yeah, their offense looks like a defense coordinator is calling their plays every single week.
That's almost like what it is.
They're a very weird team. Like I can't decide if they're actually good or bad. Like
their defense is good, I think.
But we're like 11 weeks in, and I couldn't tell you what the Patriots are. They're a mystery in themselves.
Yeah. Anyways, on Sunday we had Dolphins took care of business 30-15 over the Texans. They're looking pretty good. That looks like a good hire for them. Bengals and Titans were in a really close game. 2016, Bengals got the dub. Like you mentioned, the Panthers beat the Broncos, who are I've never seen someone who I thought was a great quarterback just be a shell of himself this quickly. Like Russ has gone from Pro Bowl MVP caliber quarterback to like a joke. It's and I don't think it's just on like coaching either. I think Russ is just this year he's
combination
for whatever reason.
I mean, Hackett looks like he has no idea what he's doing.
He's gonna get fired.
Russ 100%. Looks horrendous.
Yeah.
And it's just like, people say, oh, the NFL, the quarterback is the most important position. You see Matthew Stafford go to a new team, win a Super Bowl. You see Tom Brady go to a new team, win a Super Bowl. It reminds you of like NBA superstars. When they change teams, automatically they're championship contenders. And then you see Russell Wilson go to a new team and just completely collapse. They're worse with him than they were without him. It is horrific. Think the Seahawks, who went into full rebuild with Geno Smith, are going to end up with a better record, maybe even go to the playoffs and get a first-round pick that's probably going to be a top 10 pick from Denver for Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Well, is what it is. The Jets benched, what the fuck's his name?
Zach Wilson.
And they went on and smacked the Bears 31-10 behind Mike White. So that's a weird development.
Weird team. Their defense was legit.
Their defense is legit. Yeah, for sure.
Salah's a very good coach. That offense, I just don't understand. I don't get it.
And it's so funny to me that Zach Wilson was interviewed last week, and they said, "Do you think you let the defense down by only completing 9 passes?" And he was like, "No." I was like, "Are you sure?" That's pretty bad.
Do you want to change your mind? Like, and then he got benched. Such a weird team. Yeah. Like this team. I mean, Elijah Moore showed a little bit this year, but he was demanding a trade, even though
he
the Jets
bitches every game that he doesn't get the ball. I don't.
I mean, he really doesn't. What's his face? Breece Hall got hurt. Michael Carter really doesn't touch the ball after a great rookie season. I don't even Zach Knight. I guess I couldn't even tell you what his actual name. He led the team in rushing. Zonovan. That's one. Looking at a picture of him, he kind of reminds me of LeBron. He's kind of got a LeBron look to him. But like, this team makes no sense to me. They benched their starting quarterback for Mike White and explode. They replaced their top wide receiver and running back with high drafted rookies after 1 year on both of them. And now they got Zonovan Knight leading the charge. It's outrageous. I don't understand the Jets offensively. They don't make any sense at all.
No, they're like the Patriots, where really good defense, questionable offense, but winning games. Did you see that thing where the guy is like, he did a bunch of coin flips to predict the Jets win-loss, and like he's like 10 for 10 so far or something? Really outrageous. I don't know. Anyways,
listen, everyone's got a story.
I guess so. Commanders beat the Falcons 19-13. Like we said, hey, the NFC East and the AFC East are literally running the entire NFL, and it blows my mind because neither of those divisions you would have thought that going forward. So,
wild year.
Yeah, Browns beat the Buccaneers 23-17 in OT, and that was with Jacoby Brissett. So, I think Deshaun's he's coming back. Is it this week? Deshaun Watson plays?
He is. He's activated on the roster. Can I say something though? No. Things are odd. This is one of those rare things I've never seen. I've never seen a meteor shower in person. I've never seen a cow jump over the moon. I've never seen a pig fly. I don't remember ever seeing Tom Brady having the ball in a game-winning situation in fourth quarter and overtime and then lose. And you know what? Listen, Tom Brady had that ball in overtime. Before Jacoby Brissett got it, Tom Brady had his chance. He had that game at overtime. And all I know is Jacoby Brissett ended up winning that game. Very, very odd situation.
It's a good point. Yeah, he looked a little frazzle-dazzled, if you will. Browns were getting after it. Myles Garrett was
he was
trying to take his lunch money, eating.
Well, Tristan Wirfs got hurt, and then things all kind of fell apart.
Yeah. But, hey, Browns are a weird team too. Like, they had so much talent going into the year. I really thought they were going to compete, but then they had the whole quarterback situation. So,
hold on. All right, let me ask you before we get into Whiz and not Whiz. Can I throw one at you right now? So, what are the Browns right now? What's their record? They are
4, I think.
4-7. Okay. 4-7 right now. It's pretty tough. They're right near the bottom.
Yeah.
But there's still time. The Browns are about to activate Deshaun Watson. Do the Browns go on a run now that Deshaun Watson is their quarterback, and do they sneak into the playoffs?
No, that's too much whiz. Because
currently they're 3 games behind the last playoff spot.
Yeah, but I'm looking at their schedule. I mean, Texans, that should be a win. Bengals, that's a loss. Ravens, they play them yet? They probably played them yet already. They lost close game. I think the Ravens need that win in the end of December. Saints, I'll give them the win there. Commanders win. Playing well. I don't know. Their defense is not bad.
Steelers win. You got 3 easy games to end the season.
I would say
Deshaun Watson comes in.
I would say they go 3-3. I'll say 3-3. So what does that put them at? 7-9? 7-10?
Yeah, right now. Yeah.
They could still make playoffs. 7-10.
Not at 7-10 now. I would definitely lean towards more like 4-2.
That still only puts them at
the least
8-9.
True. Yeah, that's probably a stretch then. You don't think they catch a little mojo? Deshaun Watson comes back.
Well, I think it's either going to be a disaster or he's going to show out. I think he's going to be really rusty and he's going to struggle. And he's going to struggle the rest of these 6 games. But
I mean, we saw with Russell Wilson coming into a new system. I mean, to be fair, he's never played in this system before. It is probably going to take some time.
You know what would be the most Browns thing ever? If he comes in and in the first quarter he gets hurt and he's out for the rest of the season. Knock on wood. I don't want that to happen to him, but I'm just saying that would be very on point for the Browns.
That's karma. I mean, a very questionable decision, giving up everything they did.
If it happens, Deshaun Watson, please don't sue me. I'm poor.
Don't worry. I don't think he's got the legal
I'll
fees
give you a massage.
left in his bank. Yeah. I don't think he's got any legal fees left in the bank to fight you in court.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. All right, so go ahead. Sue me. Anyways. Yeah. Who else played? We had the Raiders. Wait, was that the right game? Yeah. Raiders won 40-34 in OT over Seattle with Josh Jacobs going apeshit. Went wild. Like what, 300 total yards or something crazy?
Close to it. The Raiders are another team. I don't know who they are. They're I think they're a little worse than the Patriots, but I honestly don't know what team that. Well, I lean towards they're terrible, but then they have these moments.
They are quite honestly the exact opposite teams, where Raiders have a good offense that struggles sometimes, bad defense. Patriots have a really good defense that struggles sometimes, and a terrible offense. So they're like opposites. But yeah, I think let me double check my fantasy matchup against you. I believe I have Josh Jacobs, and he did quite well for me. Let's see.
I don't understand why you have to check on this. We are well aware that he had a great game. I just want to make sure. Oh yeah, I won 147.9 to 146.8. Yeah, it was a good game. Okay, yeah. I'm glad this can be your highlight of the month.
Josh Jacobs had. Well, I mean, your team did well, but Josh Jacobs had 48.3 fantasy points. Currently the second-ranked fantasy running back. Thank you, A.J. Brown, for that touchdown catch. That was that's all I needed to get over the top of Timothy.
Move on. Okay, are we done? Move
on. Let's see what else happened. Jags beat the Ravens. I called that. You saw that on the schedule when we picked our games, 28-27. It was a good game. They played well.
That was a fun game.
It was fun. Chargers beat the Cardinals barely, 25-24. 49ers beat the Saints in a hideous game, 13-0. Did you see the stat that San Fran's defense hasn't given up a second half point in 4 straight games or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Niners defense is legit. You know who needs some head coaching buzz? DeMeco Ryan. He is.
Yeah, I'm happy to see him doing well. I loved watching him when he was with the Texans, and then I was ecstatic when he came over to Philly.
But so, even I feel like that Niners team is just they've been decimated by injuries, and they've not missed a beat.
Yeah,
but defensively they've been decimated by injury. I feel like as a team, them and the Chargers are up there, but if you look at one side of the ball, their defense is just constantly dropping like flies. They just keep grinding.
49ers defense kind of reminds me of, we weren't as good. But the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017, when the second half of the year, I just remember the defense kept losing. We went through cornerbacks off the grocery store. Like, it was bad. But yeah, they're finding ways to win, and Jimmy G's doing enough. I'm really curious to see what would have happened if Trey Lance was the quarterback, but guess we'll never know until next year. Let's see what else we got here. The Chiefs beat the Rams 26-10. Like we said, Rams are a disaster. Eagles beat the Packers 40-33, and the Colts lost to the Steelers on Monday night 24-17. All right, moving on. Let's hear the studs and duds for the week. Let's start with the duds. Mix it up.
Duds. Oh, you're in a dud mood. It's the holiday season.
Yeah, it's a weird holiday season. I'm in a duddy mood.
Okay, all right.
Been a weird week.
All right, Mr. Negative. Okay, all right. Moopy and moody. Okay, all right. Is it that someone's having a down moment here? I see.
It happens to the best of us,
All right, fair enough. Well, hey, fine. To satisfy the grunch that is you.
The Grinch?
No, the Grunch. It's a grumpy Grinch. You're not just the Grinch.
The Grinch is grumpy. What do you the Grunch?
Go on. You're just an emphasis on the grumpy, but go on. So you know what? This one's going to surprise you. I know it is, but I'm like a...
Nothing you say surprises me.
Fair enough. I'm like a horror novelist. I set myself up for the big excitement later on.
Well, this is news
so this obviously is a big word for you, so you might not understand, but this is foreshadowing to something else that might be coming later.
Foreshadowing's a big word.
But this one is actually a first. This is a dud who didn't actually even play, but still managed to make the dud list.
Mm-hmm.
So my dud is a guy who saw no issue with his performance last week, where his inept ability to throw the ball caused his team a loss. His defense balled out. He managed to put up 3 points in a game where his defense only gave up 10, and they still ended up losing. And he had no issue with completely deflecting blame and not taking any blame for it. And you know what? That's all fine and well, ignore blame and everything. But then when your team comes out the next week with someone else and puts up 31 points and makes you look like an idiot, it doesn't look too good. So my first dud, we're going with Zach Wilson.
Very fitting. We did talk about him briefly. So he's a strange... He likes MILFs, and he doesn't like to take the blame for anything, apparently. So,
can I ask you this? What is more disappointing or more disgusting of a performance? Going for 9 for 22, 77 passing yards, and 0 touchdowns, and scoring 3 points? Or throwing hissy fit, getting benched for your backup, and that backup going on to score 31 points? Which is worse, the performance last week or the shenanigans this week?
The hissy fit, because if I am a teammate on the Jets and I see that C on Zach Wilson's fucking jersey and he's gonna not acknowledge his struggles, not try to come up with solutions and stuff like that, that's a really bad look.
I mean, it's bad when usually high draft picks, they get benched or they get released or traded or they're given up on when there's a new coaching staff, new regime. But Joe Douglas and Saleh drafted this guy and they had to put him down. It's we're so tired of your shenanigans. We're going to bench you. And then your backup came up in 31 points. So sit the fuck down.
So, I mean, do you remember when the draft was happening? We were all praying that the Eagles didn't try and take Zach Wilson. Thank God.
Yeah. Moving on.
Move on.
We're going to go to, so I already mentioned a defense coordinator in the NFC West, D'Amico Ryans, who I think should definitely get a head coaching opportunity next year.
Absolutely.
Let's go to another defense coordinator in the NFC West that has gotten a lot of buzz about a head coaching opportunity, who has been nothing but a disaster this season. He, the last 3 weeks, has lost the last 3 weeks while his defense has let up a minimum of 26 points every single game. A defense that features at least 3 Hall of Famers on it. I know the offense is missing Stafford and they're missing Kupp and Andrew Whitworth retired and there's a lot of other injuries, but you would hope that this defense with all the playmakers and everything would step up, and they haven't. This whole team is a disaster, but Raheem Morris needs to get this shit together because they are embarrassing themselves on a weekly basis. We know the offense is beaten up and bruised and injured. But I haven't seen Bobby Wagner miss any games. Aaron Donald hasn't missed any games. Jalen Ramsey's out there, and they're getting cooked. They have all the talent in the world, and they are not doing it. They gave up 27 to the Cardinals, 27 to the Saints, and this week now 26 to the Chiefs, and they lost every single one of those games. Very disappointing. You have a defense that's more than enough talent to carry a beaten and battered offense, and they're not doing it. So Raheem Morris is my second dud.
Well, I think your point is definitely an emphasis on the whole like defense wins championships, but offense wins like regular season games, and they can't even get to the championship if they can't win fucking games. So yeah, they're going to be sitting at home this January, and I mean Stafford might be retiring at this point. I don't know
how bad retire. Fuck.
Donald might be like, I'm not doing this shit again. Like
Sean McVay might retire. He's like, yo, I get 30 million a year.
He did. I remember he did mention that was it last year or the year before that he was like already considering retirement. I was like, okay.
It's kind of wild, but now we're in the age of Stafford has been in the league for a while. He's got his
Stafford
ring.
Could call it. He could call it.
Aaron Donald is so dominant. Like there's literally nothing else he has to do. Like he's easily one of the greatest defense players ever.
He's been so good for so long that you don't realize like how long he's been in the league. Like he's been in the league as long as Fletch. And Fletch, we've seen like deteriorate a little bit here.
And honestly, McVay is a guy that's like, that every network would outbid each other to try to get him calling games. Like he's got the personality. He's young. He's smart. Like anyone, they would be giving him. I mean, shit. Tony Romo got what, like $25 million a year. Wait until Sean McVay becomes available. It is going to be out of control.
Yeah.
Moving on though. There's a couple players in this league that are so dominant that they should be able to carry a team or carry themselves at least. They should be able to dominate or perform in every single game they're a part of. That when their team struggles, they should still be able to succeed. Now, for this guy, superstar, definitely considering that superstar category, he did absolutely nothing. He hurt his team more than he helped, and that is saying a lot because his team couldn't even score one damn point. So after his team got shut out, and he not had one, but two fumbles. One, I mean, both of them were backbreaking, but one was on the opening drive of the game to set the tone. And then another was in the red zone, right on the goal line. That just killed all momentum again. His stats were pathetic. He did not step up at all to help his team when they absolutely needed it and got completely embarrassed. We're going to go with number one dud, Alvin Kamara.
I can see it.
I mean, the Saints.
He did terrible for me in fantasy, and I lost. So yeah. Put him on the list.
Seven carries for 13 yards. He had 6 receptions for 37, no touchdowns, 2 fumbles. They got shut out. I mean, looks great for the Eagles draft pick, but Alvin Kamara, man, you need to step up. You need to do better than that. You can't be the reason your team falters and falls on your face. You need to be the reason that they score some points. Yeah. But yeah, there you go. Another Pro Bowl player, all pro player, making it on the dud list. I keep them all guessing. That's what I do. All right, Mr. Grunch, can we go back to happy times, or are you still miserable and sad?
Yeah, what's Santa bringing for early Christmas presents or Hanukkah presents?
For you.
Do they have a mascot for Hanukkah? That sounds really dumb of me to say, but
you're asking the wrong person.
The dreidel?
Yeah.
Where's the Goldbergs when we need them?
Yeah. All right, before you get yourself in some political controversy here, let me cut you off. But let's move on to, like I said, what was the big word of today, Dakota?
Foreshadowing.
There we go. So as I was foreshadowing too, our third stud this week is going to be a guy that we leaned into already. We're going to go with the guy who went and made Zach Wilson look more of an idiot than he already was, who went up 22 of 28, 315 yards and 3 tutties in backup relief after his team just sat their second overall pick and went up and put up 31 points. So big Mike White, we're going to go with the third stud of the week.
Yeah, he deserved it. Played well. 300-something yards, right?
He did. Moving on, we talked about that. I think it was the 2021 draft that Zach Wilson was the number 2 overall pick in.
Yes.
Let's move on to the guy who was also in that 2021 draft, another quarterback who this time was the first overall pick, the guy that was drafted right before Zach Wilson. We're going to go with the most hyped up quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck when he came out, and a guy who we've been waiting so long for have his moment, and I think he finally had it. So after going 29 to 37, 321 yards and 3 touchdowns, plus a beautiful and final drive of that game to go ahead and score and beat a good Baltimore Ravens team, we're going to go with Trevor Lawrence after his best moment of his entire career, honestly. Doug Peterson has been a godsend for that man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we're going with Trevor. I mean, we've been waiting. I've always believed in Trevor Lawrence. I never thought he was as bad as we've seen. Urban Meyer is really a terrible coach.
Well, yeah.
But I didn't want to give up. I didn't think Trevor Lawrence was as bad as we saw. His teammates.
Stealing my thunder. I had him mentioned coming up, but go on.
Okay, fair enough. Well, all right, so we're going to go into this next one. You already ranted and raved about how well he did in your fantasy team, which no one cares about. But let's talk about a guy. Can I take a moment and paint you a picture? So Mike Mayock, who outrageously used to be an NFL draft expert, which is just insane now that you think about it.
I actually loved listening. No, I've heard, hold on, to stop you there. I've heard that Gruden was actually in charge of like the first few rounds of the draft, and then Mayock could take the later half of the picks. That's the report that was out there.
That sounds like Mike Mayock is hitting up his boys and his old friends at NFL Network saying, "Don't make me look like a complete jackass. Can you just go Barry Gruden a little bit more while everyone hates him?"
Maybe.
Yeah. So let's go back to Mike Mayock's horrific draft history, where he had 5 first-round picks in 2 years. He went ahead and drafted some questionable character guys, Henry Ruggs and Damon Arnett, who are no longer with the teams. Some questionable production guys, Cleveland Farrell and Jonathan Abram, who neither, I believe, are still with the team.
Fair.
And then let's go back to the 5th guy, who they declined his 5th-year option. He's actually still on the team, but they declined his 5th-year option. And now who he's balling out of his mind in his contract year and just making the Raiders look more like idiots for not bringing up his 5th-year option. So after he went for 33 carries, 229 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, and then, hold on, I know you're waiting for it, 6 receptions for 74 yards. Dakota, I know your math isn't very good, but that's okay. That's what I'm here for. So
it's a lot of numbers.
303 total yards with 2 tutties. Mr. Josh Jacobs went in a game that went in overtime, a game that was 40-34 shootout. Mr. Josh Jacobs went and balled out of his skull and made it on the number 1 stud position this week.
I swear, for whatever reason, though, the Seahawks are always like one of the highest scoring teams every week with that offense and Geno Smith. It makes no sense to me. But
the Seahawks are giving me Minnesota Vikings vibes, where you need to turn the TV on if they're playing.
They've been interesting. I saw they're bringing back their retro colors next year for a couple of games, and that's pretty cool. I like their retro stuff's nice, but yeah, nice. All right, move on to our Too Much Whiz. I let you have the one early one, so we'll only be doing 2 now. But
okay.
Roll right into it. I wanted to really bounce off your Trevor Lawrence thing. So my question to you: Too Much Whiz. Now that we've seen, like you said, an improvement in Trevor Lawrence's play, an improvement in the team, thanks to Doug Peterson and some pieces and players they've brought in. Do you think, well, I guess I should rephrase this, Too Much Whiz, Trevor Lawrence will see a Josh Allen, let's say Jalen Hurts type step in his 3rd year next year? Or is it too soon?
I'm going to say it's too much whiz. I am going to say it's too soon. Okay. Here's the thing.
I don't know. I feel like he might light the world on fire next year if they get a couple more pieces for him. Their offense is already.
Oh, listen. Don't get me wrong. I've never once wavered on the fact that Trevor Lawrence is a good player, and I think Dougie P is a great coach for him. You're talking about Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen, who made MVP type jumps. Like Trevor Lawrence could make a massive jump and still not be on the Jalen Hurts.
You get two enough weapons, and he starts playing really well too.
Well, here now let's go back to that. This is the point that makes me hesitate. Look at the difference. Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Their teams went and got players. They went and built an offense. Yeah, okay. They went and built that offense. I need to see the Jaguars make some moves in offseason before I buy into that.
Pick. I can see them taking a receiver. Teams are taking receivers whether they need one or not in the top 15 like every year.
No. This is not go get a first round pick wide receiver. This is go get a bona fide superstar.
I don't know.
I mean, Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill are all superstar wide receivers. Mm-hmm. That's what the Jaguars need to do. Christian Kirk is a good player. I mean, he took a lot of heat. I was one of those on his contract, but he's played well. They need more talent. I think Travis Etienne is a baller. They need more line help. They need more talent for him to really make the jump. When I see that, then I'll buy into it. I've never doubted Trevor Lawrence's talent. I doubted Urban Meyer as a coach and as a, living, breathing Homo sapien. But the team, his talent, I never doubted. The team, I need to see increase their talent a little bit.
All right. Fair. All right. And then my final Too Much Whiz. This is something we've kind of talked about here and there throughout the year, but Too Much Whiz. When the season ends, we will have, make sure my math's right, at least 3 NFC East and 3 AFC East teams in the playoffs.
I'm going to say not too much whiz. I mean, I won't get into the NFC too much because we already talked about that, how much of they're a train wreck. So it doesn't surprise me at all that 3 teams would make it there. The AFC wise, the Bills are juggernaut, obviously. The Dolphins I really like. I think they're a strong team and a real contender.
Yeah.
The Patriots are the ones you don't know, but they could turn it on, they could turn it off, but they have the makings of a 7th playoff team kind of run in them. I think that the Ravens are inconsistent enough. They could drop a couple games. The Chargers, you never know. I mean, you're looking at the Chargers, Ravens, these type of teams that you have honestly no idea what the hell they're going to do week to week.
I would not be shocked if the Chargers missed the playoffs again. I would not be shocked.
No. Not even a little bit. The Ravens, even in the same boat. They're just, you don't know what you're getting week to week with those 2 teams. The Patriots are in that boat too. So
that would be very fitting if both of our Super Bowl game pick, like who was going to be in it, both ended up not making the playoffs. That would make us look really good.
Okay, well, hold on. Do not quote me on this. The Chargers not making the playoffs is completely different than the Broncos looking like a laughing stock.
Who would have thought that?
Me.
Anyways, all right. Let's get into our, I already forgot what it's called, power rankings. So not too much movement. Eagles remain at number 1, as they should. As I've seen a couple, I think NFL.com, I think theirs has the Eagles back at number 1. So it's good to see.
There's no reason not to. People that take them out are haters.
The only other team I've seen them, and then our number 2 is the Chiefs. I've just seen the Eagles and Chiefs mostly at 1 and 2, like interchangeable. But number 3, we still have the Bills. I think we're a little higher than other people are, but like I know they've lost a couple games. They've looked a little rough here and there. Josh Allen is throwing some questionable red zone turnovers again. But they still have the defense to back it up. They still have the coaching to get it right, you would hope, this time around. And then they have Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. So
it helps.
Number 4, unfortunately, we have the Cowboys. They continue to play a lot better. They play a lot better than I had thought. I think their offensive line especially has played much better. I thought they were going to struggle. Zeke and Pollard, I mean, you could run those 2 all day. Like, it's kind of unfair. You could literally just run them. And then you have Dak, and Dak's a good quarterback. So 5, we have the Dolphins. So again, Tua's looking good. Dolphins looking good. They're pretty loaded on offense. Defense is they're there. Niners, like we mentioned. Niners are the opposite of the Dolphins, I would argue. Really good defense. Their offense is there. They score enough points. But you do have, CMC now. You have Debo. You have Brandon Ayuk, who decided now he was going to start playing football. Then at 7, we have the Bengals, who are starting to turn the corner. Vikings at 8, as Tim calls them, the best show on turf.
They really are.
Must-see TV. Must-see TV.
Ravens at 9. Watched a Vikings game and was disappointed.
Ravens at 9. And then the Titans at 10. So there are your power rankings. So you ready for game picks, Timothy?
Let's do it. How did I do last week?
That's a great question. I haven't looked yet.
Oh, can you just once, I would like to see you come prepared. I'm over here pulling out Mike White's stats, and you can't even go through my game picks. Just disgusted with you.
I mean, sometimes we're busy people. I'm not getting paid for this.
The Grunch over here, just taking the joy out of everything.
That's my new name,
2
the
weeks.
Grunch. I will say, all right, well, let's go through it right now then. I think we have the time. Let's see. Oh, wait. No, I'm not smart enough to figure this out. This is live, people. This is a live.
Trust me, you remind everyone weekly about it, the fact that it's live.
Hey, someone's got to do it. All right. So we had some of the Thursday games. Looks like everyone was on the Bills. Everyone was on the Cowboys. And you and I were on the Vikings. Our guest picks, Mike, who picked earlier in the year, he picked the Patriots, who, I mean, at one point it looked like it was going to happen. And then Kirk Cousins settled down. So we got no losses there for you and I. Next, we had the Bengals and the Titans. Everyone was on the Bengals. Then we had Broncos and Panthers, which we were all on the Broncos, because we're all idiots.
I don't know why. I rooted for the Panthers in the beginning of the year. I don't know why I abandoned ship.
Yeah, you sound like me when I go against the Seahawks, even though I told you I was going to pick them. Bears and Jets. I picked the Bears. Mike picked the Bears. You picked the Jets.
I don't know why you would have picked the Bears, but go on.
I mean, I thought it was going to be one of those, random get lucky.
No,
games,
I don't actually think you knew what you were talking about. Did you know Justin Fields wasn't going to play, or was that news to you?
I'm going to be honest. I definitely did not know. Who
I'm not surprised. A guy who didn't even check the win-loss of our power rankings going into this didn't know that Justin Fields wasn't going to play when he did his predictions.
These are game picks, so you're wrong.
Yeah,
there.
Same thing.
Anyways, then you got you like to pick the Falcons. I feel like you picked the Falcons over Washington. Washington won, so that's 2 corrects for me and Mike. Then we had Tampa. We all were on Tampa. They took a nice L there in overtime against. Did you see the David Njoku catch, that one-hander with 40 seconds left?
You know what? I didn't. I missed it. The only thing I saw, honestly, was overtime. I saw Tom Brady had the ball to win the game in overtime, and somehow Jacoby Brissett ended up winning the game. So, a purple unicorn, I've never seen. A car flying on the moon, never seen that either. Dakota making an undefeated week on picks, never seen that. Or any logical rationale from Dakota, never seen that either. Tom Brady losing after he has a chance to win a game on an overtime drive, never seen that either. Or a loss after that.
Sure. Let's see. I think I got them all synced up here. So we don't need to keep going through every game here. We had myself. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 wins. Correct. 12-4. You went
12-4 this week. Wow.
I did, yeah. Because I had the Jags right. Had the Raiders, Chargers, Niners, Chiefs, Eagles.
What are you so grumpy about? I've seen you happier after you go like 4-12.
So I went 12-4. Our guest Mike went, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 6. And you went
bad showing for the guest.
And you went 11-5. So we had a 12-4, 11-5, 10-6.
Fair enough. I mean, I let you gain a game. You deserved it. You needed it actually more.
I do. I mean, we're all pretty close. You got a little bit on me, but we're trying. So now that Tim demanded I do extra work for him, we will get right into week 13 here. So
let's do it.
You have the Bills and the Patriots. Who are you liking?
Oh, I mean,
right?
The Bills are a wagon.
Thinking it.
No, I'm taking the Bills. I don't want to overthink this.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Bills. They need to start getting some rolls going here. Just stay confident and get the wins down. So I'll take the Bills. Next game, Packers and the Bears. Jesus Christ. Well, looks like Jordan Love's gonna play, I would assume. And so if Fields is still kind of hurt, might not play. Jordan Love on a full week of practice, I'll take the Packers.
You know what? I picked the Bears to beat the Packers the first time around, and I looked like a genius when I did it. I'm gonna roll with it. I'm doing it again. Fuck the Packers. They've like, for some, I don't know why, but for some reason they became a team I hate. Give me the Bears.
Rodgers, yeah. But next game, Steelers at the Falcons.
Oof, this is
a couple oof games.
This is how did the fuck before we get sidetracked? How the fuck did Steelers and Colts end up on Monday Night Football? Like, I just want to know.
I think they thought both teams would be decent.
Whoever has the job at ESPN to pick the games for Monday Night Football, Fire him immediately. I'll do it for half his salary, and I promise you it'll be a hell of a lot better. I could care less. Steelers versus Colts. What are we thinking? What are we thinking? Going off that, I'm taking the Falcons. As you said, I like to pick the Falcons. I don't know why, but I'll take the Falcons again.
Yeah, on turf in Atlanta. I'll take Atlanta. Jets and the Vikings.
I'm sorry, I don't want to ignore your analysis. What about the turf makes this a more of an Atlanta Falcons game?
I mean, they're a pretty speedy team. I feel like they got Kyle Pitts, is quick. Marcus
Kyle
Mariota
Pitts blew out his knee, and he's out for the rest of the year.
Patterson is pretty fast.
Honestly, Kyle Pitts probably blew out his knee because he plays on turf.
Probably. I hated playing on turf. The fucking stupid.
So because you hate playing on turf, you're all for the Falcons. Listen, sound logic. It's actually more rational than some of the other ridiculous things you've said.
I just don't trust the Steelers quarterbacks at all. So
fair enough.
Anyways, Jets and the Vikings is the next game.
Ooh, this one's interesting.
Nah. I'll take the Vikings. I think their defense will get after Mike White if he's playing. I don't see.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins is
I would love to pick the Jets because it'd be great for the Eagles, but
it's true. Kirk Cousins is the definition of mediocrity, but Mike White, I think, is a little bit below that. So I'll take the Vikings.
Next game is the Jags and the Lions. You know what? This might be a good game. I don't know.
Who are you thinking?
You know what?
I'm going to ride the good times. I got them on my studs list.
You pick first on these, and I'm going to take whatever team you don't pick because I think it's a coin flip.
I agree with you. I'm going to take the good times. I had them on my studs list. My studs list means a lot to me. I'll take the Jags.
All right, I'll take the Lions then. Lions at home, man. 4 in a row. Oh no, well they lost the Bills. 3 and 4 in their last 4. That's pretty good though. Next we have the Titans at the Eagles.
Go Birds.
Might tailgate this game. I haven't figured it out yet, but go Birds. Picking the Eagles.
That
should be a good test. Good test. Let's see how well they can tackle Derrick Henry. I would love
this. Will be good, yeah.
And if AJ Brown comes out and has like a 200-yard receiving game, that'd be great. But
this is going to be a revenge game for him.
I feel like he's either going to be really like a focal point or he's going to be very quiet. We'll see what happens.
You know what? Sirianni strikes me as a guy. Who was it?
Brady. Absolutely. Brady. We'll say AJ. Get AJ the ball.
Yeah, Brady's the guy who just keeps throwing it to guys who need that contract bonus or that roster boost or whatever it is. Yeah. Sirianni takes me as the guy who circles matchups and makes sure. Yeah, he does. He does.
Next game we have the Browns coming back with Deshaun against the Texans. Who do you like?
Man, I would love, and I feel like dozens of other women in the Houston area. Yeah, there's dozens of other women in the Houston area would love to see Deshaun Watson lose, but the Texans are terrible. So I also think that Deshaun Watson has been biting his tongue for this. It's a big game, his former team. I think he wins this game, so I'm going to go the Browns.
How about that scheduling? That I didn't even realize that he was playing the Texans. Interesting. Yeah. I would love to take the Texans in the upset, but I think, like you said, Deshaun's been waiting long enough. I think Browns. I think it might be close, but I think the Browns will win. Next, we have the Commanders and the Giants. This is a very important game.
Listen,
honestly,
go ahead. Tell me something.
I would say it's in New York, technically New Jersey, but the Giants really don't have home field advantage. I feel like. I think the Washington's on a roll. I'll take the Commanders.
I'm taking the Commanders, and I was really hoping you would take the Giants.
Well, just
the Giants the Giants are frauds. They are frauds. Somehow the Commanders are 7-5.
That's what I said. I said that their defense, and even without Chase Young, like their defense is playing well enough for them to win, and then their offense. I mean, they have some good players on offense, so.
Yeah, no, the Giants. I forgot
Curtis Samuel was even on the team, but
yeah, I'm taking the Commanders too.
Next game, Broncos and the Ravens. Do we even need to say anything?
I'm never picking the Broncos ever again. Ravens.
Yeah. I'll take the Ravens. Dolphins and the 49ers. Ooh, spicy.
This is a good game. Mike McDaniel's return to his the student plays the teacher.
Yeah, you know what? I think that the 49ers should lose for the Eagles' sake. So I will take the Dolphins.
Fair enough. I think the 49ers are a better team and they're hitting their groove. I'm taking the Niners.
My reasoning is not very sound, but we're gonna go with it.
Rarely is.
Seahawks and the Rams. God knows which guy off the street the Rams is gonna bring in to play quarterback. But I will take Seattle.
I mean, I already roasted Raheem Morris to put him on the dud list over the fact that his defense can't stop anyone. Geno Smith is just going to be another quarterback that lights him up. So I'm going with the Seahawks.
Next game, Chargers at the Raiders. The Raiders. I'm taking Vegas, baby.
I'm taking the Chargers. What was it? 2 weeks ago that they were shitting on the Raiders that they're the biggest disappointment in the NFL.
Oh yeah, it's in Vegas.
Oh, okay, cool. Give me the Chargers.
Chiefs and the Bengals, little rematch. Oh.
You know what? The Bengals seem like they're getting their groove back. They're figuring things out. The Chiefs have kind of just been the Chiefs. They've gotten through some games. I take the Bengals. I think the Bengals. Listen, it's a revenge game. Or not? No, I'm sorry. It's not a revenge game. Well, it's a revenge game for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But I think the Bengals look at this game as more dire for them. I'll take the Bengals.
I was going to take the Bengals, but I do think the Chiefs are really just rolling right now. Like they're like the Eagles. They're not really having any problems. Travis Kelce's a demon. I'll take the Chiefs. Yeah. Colts at the Cowboys. Sunday Night Football. Why are the Colts on prime time 2 weeks in a row?
I don't get it.
NBC guy got to get fired too now, right?
I mean, at least like the Colts and Cowboys are a little more respectable. The Colts for Steelers, like who went into the season thinking that's a good game?
Yeah.
Going off that, it kills me to say this, but I have to think the Cowboys are going to win that game.
In Dallas, yeah, I'll have to take the Cowboys. Go Colts. And then Monday night we have the Saints at the Bucks. No way Tom Brady's going to lose back-to-back games again this year, so I will take the Bucks.
The Eagles are going to get a top 5 pick in the draft, so that's going to require the Saints losing, which they will. So go Bucks.
Can you imagine the anarchy if the Eagles somehow go on, win the Super Bowl, and then they also have a 5th round pick, the 5th overall pick? It'd be nuts.
Pretty beautiful. That'll be pretty beautiful.
All right. Well, that is our game picks, power rankings, Too Much Whiz, studs and duds, game recap, Thanksgiving tales. Anything else I missed?
No, I think that covers all of it.
Foreshadowing, Tim's big word of the day. What's the definition?
Easing into things, or no, leading hints.
Foreshadowing?
Hinting to something along those lines.
All right. I think we should end it on that.
Until next time.
All right. Until next time. Go Birds.
Go Birds. Peace.
Peace out.